If you're a heat and air technician or even a salesperson, is there an ethics and morality issue in the world of in-home sales and repairs, and why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. Okay, heads up, this is going to be a little bit longer video than normal. Let's pin it at about 10 minutes because there's lots of content to hear. Second on this list, there's a lot of really good companies everywhere and a few bad apples. Good companies could be all across the board. The bad apples in the business could be the owner. The bad apple could be the manager. The bad apple could be the salesperson. The bad apple could be the technician. Don't lie, cheat, and steal. You don't have to. Okay, we got that out of the way. On this list is you have the homeowner and their expectations. So you want to treat the information that you're given or the complaints that you have as valid until. And I'll give you a couple examples. When I was on a management team, we would get homeowners that would just scream and yell, right? And we would go in and we would evaluate, we'd take a look, and here's the numbers. 90% of the time, they blew things out of proportion. 10% of the time, whatever they said happened to be accurate for the most part. And the reason why I bring this up is it's really easy to get upset, really easy to get angry about price, right? I am a coach and a consultant in the heating and air world, and I get all sorts of crazy messages as if I own a company, which I don't, okay? So let's go back a little bit in time. There's a perception of what the homeowners think a part should be versus what it is. And in any given state, in any given jurisdiction, there's going to be variance. So let's take a capacitor, for instance, okay? A capacitor, it's because what they call it. A capacitor could be $250 to $500 in your state, your town, and your jurisdiction. And there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of freaking overhead. So homeowner goes, it's a $30 part. I'm not paying $300 for a $30 part, right? They get agitated. They get upset, not realizing that to get that dude or that chick to the door is not cheap. And so in their mind, they're like, in 1970, a gallon of gas was 10 cents. So in 1980, when I bought a capacitor, it was $30. In 1990, when I had a tech come out, it was $80. Hey, like it's 2024 and beyond. These things are freaking expensive. So if it's an easy part to fix, they get even angrier, right? It's like, that's an easy part. It shouldn't cost that much money. You're ripping me off, okay? So in their mind, they're like, that's lying, cheating, or stealing. In their mind, they're like, you're ripping me off, so it's lying, cheating, and stealing. So you'll hear people say that, heating and air conditioning companies as a whole are a bunch of con artists because the parts are expensive. It's not that somebody lied. It's not that the part wasn't broken. It was because it was freaking expensive. This is why you have to treat this complaint valid until you do your research, okay? So let's just go through what it takes to have a couple of parts and pieces on a van and have a technician. So you got somebody out in the world who knows what they're doing and knows how to take a look at equipment, knows how to take a look at parts, knows how to diagnose. That's not cheap. That's expensive. That's paid labor for somebody who is an expert, okay? You've got the convenience. If homeowners got charged the fee for a tech to go, I don't have a capacitor on my van, hold on, I'm going to have to go to the shop, and they go to the shop, or they go to the parts warehouse, and they go to the parts warehouse, and then they go back. There would be the time that somebody would be charged for that truck to be rolling, and then they'd be freaked out. Like, companies keep these parts on a vehicle for convenience, and it's super expensive. Like, to kit out a truck could be 20 grand. If you had 10 trucks, that's $200,000 in merchandise just rolling around at any given time, right? Like, that's debt on the balance sheet. You got warranty. If that part fails, somebody's going to have to come back out and fix it. And then you get the speed to somebody. Like, a lot of companies have guarantees that say, hey, we replace this part and it fails, we'll be out within 24 hours. So like now you're like, how do I fit that into a schedule? And then you got the overhead burden, which is insane. I live in California. Everything's more expensive. Take wherever you live and divide by half. That's just like an easy rule. Take wherever you live and divide by half, and you are good to go, okay? And this right here is why you should join HVACTechSecrets.com. I'll give you the goods, not in the Facebook group, not the YouTube channel. That's an email publication, and occasionally I sell stuff, all right? So like when you just take a look at that content alone, the last 4.5 minutes, it's like, okay, now I could see why people get so wrapped up. It's a price issue for them. And in their mind, price means you're ripping somebody off, which means that you're immoral, which means that you lie, cheat, and steal. Now, You combine that with there are some scumbags in the industry. There are some people who lie, cheat, and steal, and they shouldn't. Like, for the second time, I've said this in this video, okay? And the way that I say it may not be good enough for people. I'm always blown away with people like, Scott, you're not hard enough on companies, and it's not stringent enough, and you said it at 100%. You need to say it at 1,000%. And so here are a couple of reasons inside of a company that there are challenges and they do cause some problems, but not as many as you think. Some companies, some owners, some managers, and some technicians might use the profit cover sins model. I brought you profit, so please don't look at what I did that was so bad, right? I don't believe in that. Just so you know, I'm calling it out. Don't do that. That's not the right way to operate. Number two, lack of training for the industry. I worked with a guy way long time ago that was brand new to the company and had been in the industry for a while. And he goes out in the field and start getting complaints. They go, hey, Scott, can you go take a look at what's going on? Can you go ride with this guy? Because that was what my job was like starting 2008 was like, go ride with some people, make sure they're doing the right thing. So I go out there and the guy has no skill to diagnose. He just starts with a capacitor. Change the capacitor, didn't work. Change the contactor. Contactor didn't work. Change the fan motor. So what he was doing was he was guessing. And there are still technicians out in the field today that guess. They have no idea. There's no training for the company because it's freaking expensive. Okay, so you got the internal competition where you take a look and there's a scoreboard. And to get on the scoreboard means that you've got some sort of skills, talents, and capabilities and like your elevated status, and you get to stand in front of a meeting for 2 or 3 minutes. And occasionally the dude that wants to be on the scoreboard will not necessarily tell the truth because then he gets the scoreboard, right? And some of these scoreboards are national, and sometimes what will happen is companies will load calls up on 1 or 2, 3 dudes so they could say, hey, we got a national guy. Our guy, right? It's a chest thumping thing. It's just like I showed you. It's a chest thumping thing. I've been to these meetings. I've been behind the scenes. I can tell you this with certainty. And then last on this list is you've got commissions versus non-commissions versus spiffs and your ethical beliefs and how you think the things should be done. So when you take and you combine all this and you hear a homeowner complain and like, heating and air people, they're all scumbags and liars and they've got morals and ethics. Yeah, some of them do. Morals and ethics issues. Yeah, some of them do. They really do. Is it all of them? No. It's partially the misconception of parts to replacement versus hard cost versus markup versus how long did the guy take, right? A lot of times when I would take a phone call from a homeowner back in the day when I was on a management team, hardly ever did the guy lie. It was always the perception of your guy was just here for 30 minutes and it cost me $700, right? The tech was good. I mean, would you have rather him taking 4 hours? And so people are like, no, it's just the cost versus time. And so people confuse cost versus time versus morals. And so I would say if someone's got a concern and they come to you, listen to it and validate it until. Right? Treat it as valid until you can say, wait a minute, you're having a confusion. And I would let a manager do this. This wouldn't be me as a technician. I would let a manager say, hey, look, there's a little bit of confusion here. You're confusing morality and ethics versus what it costs to repair something. Now, here's the thing. If you're a homeowner, I don't care. I really don't. I've shot multiple videos saying don't lie, cheat, and steal. I have pretty much every video on my channel says don't lie, cheat, and steal. And if you're a technician and you're like, Scott, gosh darn it, you're not saying it strong enough. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, right? I really don't. Is there a morals and ethics issue for some companies? Yeah, there's a few of them. But there's a lot of really good companies, a lot of really good owners, and it is freaking expensive to run a business. You got 1 of 3 things to do from here. Just 1 of 3. Find the subscribe button. Click on it every time I send out a video. You'll get an update. 2, and follow 3. You know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.